Valencia is home to the Holy Grail. It invented paella, has some of the world's wildest festivals, and yet most people only know it for the beach, which, in my opinion, isn't even my top 3 favorite things about the city. Hi, I'm Kevin. I've been here since 2018, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the top 10 things Valencia is actually famous for. So here's the thing. Valencia is Spain's 3rd largest city, but it's a lot more low-key than you might actually be expecting. Because this city was part of its own independent kingdom from Spain for like 500 years, which means this city has 2,000 years of history, its own language, its own culture, and everything that's a lot different from maybe what you're expecting if you're thinking of toreros and flamenco. So to talk about the 10 things Valencia is famous for, let's start with the most obvious one, paella. Valencia is the birthplace of this rice dish, and the locals take it very seriously. Traditional paella valenciana consists of rabbit, chicken, green beans, white beans, rice, and few ingredients past that are allowed. No seafood, no chorizo, no onions, and whatever it is you had in Barcelona or Madrid, that wasn't paella. No. Because here, even the rice has its own certificate of origin. That is how serious people are taking these things. And paella is only ever eaten for lunch. Not for dinner. If a restaurant is selling you paella for dinner, it is a tourist trap. Every family typically makes a paella on Sunday. It's usually like a dad thing for them to make it. So every family has their own recipe. Different towns change a little bit, but paella valenciana, putting those 2 words together, strict recipe. And honestly, it's more than just food. It's about community, identity, and culture. Next up on the list, number 9, one of my favorite things about Valencia, La Llotja de la Seda. This is the Silk Exchange. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the only physical one we have in Valencia. Because back in the 15th century, Valencia was one of the most powerful cities in the entire Mediterranean. It's what we now call as the Valencian Golden Age. And this building was the center of commerce. So you can tell they had a lot of money. Really, this building represents Valencia at its peak. Spiral, Gothic architecture, tons of details, golden ceilings. It's absolutely gorgeous to visit, and you can come see it for free on Sundays. For number 8, let's go from medieval to ultra-modern. La Ciutat de les Arts y les Ciències, City of Arts and Sciences. This postmodern wonder was designed by architect Santiago Calatrava back in the 2000s, and it's one of the things that really put Valencia on the map. It's a futuristic design that's meant to reflect Valencians' culture and closeness to the sea. There's a bunch of cultural elements all throughout. You have an IMAX theater, a science museum, an opera house, and Europe's largest aquarium. So you have medieval towers on one side of the city, and then this super modern invention on the other. And that sort of contrast is why I really like Valencia. Now let's go back to another UNESCO heritage that Valencia has, but this time an intangible one. Number 7, the biggest one, Les Falles. And if you've never heard of this, buckle up. Every March from the 15th to the 19th, Valencia completely transforms. It is nothing like anything else you've seen in the city. Over 700 art monuments are put in the middle of the city, all created. It took them over a year to make them, and they're all satirical structures meant to poke fun at society. You get 5 days, fireworks, art, flowers, partying, a maspereta, which is like the loudest firecrackers you've ever heard. And then on the final night, on March 19th, we get La Crema, the burning, where we light all 700 of these, except for one piece of one fire to the ground. The one that escapes the flames, the Ninot Indultat, which means the pardoned one, is the only piece that we get to remember and put in a museum, and everything else turns to ash. This UNESCO heritage brings in over 1 million visitors every year to celebrate the spring, a renewal, rising from the ashes, and just a new cycle all beginning. So if you can experience Les Falles, I definitely recommend it because it's unlike anything you've ever experienced before. And that brings me to number 6. Valencia is obsessed with fireworks. Because it's not just Les Falles. Every celebration comes with its own fireworks. Valencians just really love things that go boom. So the pyrotechnics is a really fun part of Valencia, but if you're super sensitive to sounds, maybe you won't like it as much, so bring earplugs. Now we'll move on to number 5, the beaches. Valencia is really famous for its enormous beaches. It's a Mediterranean city, crystal clear water, right on the coast. Because the city has kilometers of beaches of people wanting to enjoy the sun. There's a boardwalk, there's lots of restaurants, there's hotels, there's volleyball nets, and just lots of places to lay out, take in the sun, and go for a swim. In Valencia, or the Kingdom of Valencia, right? And Valencia, or the Valencian country, has the most blue beaches anywhere in Spain. So lots of people come here to enjoy the water. Plus, the Mediterranean climate means you get to enjoy the beach from like April to October, more or less. Water might still be a little cold, but you can enjoy the sun. Just wear sunscreen. Number 4 of things Valencia is famous for, La Ciutat Vella, the Old Town. This is where 2,000 years of history come alive. You still have 2 of the original medieval gates, the Torres del Serrans and the Torres de Quart. These were part of the old city walls. And as you walk through the Ciutat Vella, you get to see where the Romans walked, where the Muslim rulers governed for 700 years, and where the new Christian kingdom thrived. Narrow streets, hidden squares, there is a lot to explore. Plus, if you like architecture, you get a little bit of everything. Baroque, Gothic, modernist, Valencian modernist. It's a lot to explore. It's one of the largest historic centers in Spain, and it's still very active. There's still very much people who live in the center and are trying to get to work, so be mindful when you're here. Number 3 of what Valencia is really famous for, this might sound crazy, but the Holy Grail. You might have heard of it. It's one of Christianity's most important relics, popped up in the Last Supper, and allegedly it's inside the Cathedral of Valencia. And I know lots of places claim this, but religious scholars and architects all agree that this is one of the most likely places for it. And you can see it for yourself. You just get a ticket to go into the cathedral, head to the right, there's a small little chapel, and there it is on the wall for you to enjoy. So whether you believe it or not, it is really fun to see, and it's one of the things Valencia is most famous for now. Number 2, we're going back to something intangible. Valencia is really famous for the Mediterranean climate. Valencia has 300 days of sunshine through the year. Mild winters, warm summers, but not terribly hot, all thanks to this nice Mediterranean breeze that comes in and keeps things temperate. And it's one of the reasons why Valencia is able to be the Garden of Europe, because all of the fruits and vegetables in Europe pretty much come from Valencia or a little bit further south. Fertile land, perfect weather, great food. And it's also why the lifestyle here is so outdoor centered. People prefer eating outdoors, seeing their friends outdoors, just being outside a la fresca whenever they can. But it still does rain, so if you come in spring or the fall, it's still likely to rain on you. It's not a perfect paradise every day. And for me, this is the number 1 thing Valencia is famous for, because it affects everything else. The Valencian language and culture. Because if you didn't know, Valencia has its own language. It's called Valencian, which is the same thing as Catalan, just different name, but it's not the same thing as Spanish. It's about as different from Spanish as Italian is from Spanish. So it's not just a local dialect, it's a whole new language that people here have been speaking before they were speaking Spanish. Because Spain has 5 official languages, and Valencian/Catalan is one of them. You'll see all the street signs in Valencian, and you'll notice this is why the culture is so different from Madrid or Andalusia or Galicia or the Basque Country. Because Spain's really just made up of a bunch of different kingdoms, and the Valencian kingdom has a totally different culture from the others. And since it was its own kingdom for 500 years, Valencians are obviously really proud of their identity. Culture, traditions, language, way of life, food, it's all very unique and something to appreciate. So remember, you're not just visiting Spain, you're visiting Valencia, a place that is uniquely its own and that you should learn to appreciate that way. And honestly, that's what makes it so special. So remember that you're not just coming to visit Spain, you're coming to visit Valencia with its own language and culture and food and things to enjoy. And that's a beautiful perspective that I think is the most important. So those are the 10 things that Valencia is most famous for, from paella to historical towers to a million things in between. And you know, I used to say that Valencia is also famous for being underrated, but maybe I would have said that 10 years ago. I don't think that's true anymore. I think people know about it now. But if you're planning a trip, make sure to download the free guides on my website. There's lots of free resources on there for you. Or if you want me to plan out an itinerary or you want a private tour, then just send me a message and we can talk about that. And if this video helped you learn something new about Valencia, please hit the like button, comment, subscribe. All of those really help me bring free resources for you every week. And if you've been to Valencia already, comment below and tell me what your favorite thing about the city is.